JKR has started promoting energy efficiency in building under CAS division and has implemented System Pengurusan Tenaga JKR or JKR Energy Management System, EnMS or ISO 50001/2015, that has reached 6.2% overall saving, which equivalent to 120,000 ringgit. This is a result of a saving of 300,000 kilowatt hours in the first year that exceeded the target by 3%. As JKR will continue to promote and implement energy efficiency in building, we would like to urge building owners or operators in Malaysia to follow our footsteps and start developing suitable energy management system to reduce your energy costs and at the same time to preserve the environment and curb climate change. We hope this video will be a starting point to assist building owners or operators to get a general understanding about energy management system that suits your building and organization before proceeding to a more comprehensive energy management version.
These guidelines on the development and implementation of an energy management system for building facilities video was produced by BSEEP Malaysia with the intention of providing a simple yet useful reference to building owners and operators to improve energy use and benchmarking energy performance in its operations. For this video, we will go through the strategic plan of energy management system development and implementation for organizations as well as the guidelines to develop and implement energy management system for organizations. In 2014, Malaysia's commercial buildings electricity consumption has reached 41,472 megawatt-hour. That was an increment of 180% in 10 years. It can be reduced by 3 to 40% if suitable energy management system is implemented. As building owners or operators that has planned to develop and implement EnMS, what do you have to do first? You need to form an energy management committee that will be responsible to plan and carry out all future activities related to EnMS. You may refer to our EnMS guidebook for a clear terms of reference for these roles. By then, you are ready to appoint energy manager to lead all the activities that are related to EnMS. The energy manager usually works on site at the building to ensure the organization meets its energy efficiency objectives and targets. Once the energy management committee is formed and energy managers are appointed, you are now ready for the strategic plan of energy management system development and implementation for organizations. The EnMS development and implementation program consists of 4 phases. Phase 1, planning and commitment. As a start, you have to convince the decision makers of the organization to indicate their commitment towards sustainable energy management with strong business case proposal and presentation. Direct participation by the decision makers is an important aspect of the program, which includes setting up and serving on the Energy Management Committee, formulating and establishing policies and objectives, providing resources and training as well as overseeing the implementation of energy management activities at all levels of the organization, evaluating and revising their progress. Once the commitment is confirmed by the decision makers or the top management, the EnMS gap analysis shall be carried out in the organization prior to the development of EnMS. This is necessary to evaluate the current practices and to gauge the existing level of energy management in the organization. Recommendations on EnMS will be strategically presented to the organization upon completing the gap analysis. Phase 2, System Design and Document Development. This stage is the most crucial phase in the EnMS development and implementation program, namely the System Design and Document Development. These are the key points in the EnMS development schedule for Phase 2. The first key point of the schedule is the development and approval of energy policy. Suitable energy policy for specific organization is one of the key elements as outlined by the standard. It states that the organization's commitment in achieving energy performance improvement shall be developed and approved. The next key point is the development of Energy Management System Manual. The manual is a practical guide that will provide strategies for implementing energy management program that meets the organization's needs and for continuous improvement in the energy efficiency implementation. The EnMS manual shall be developed by the organization in accordance with the ISO 50001 requirement and recommended to be integrated with the regulatory requirements enforced by the regulator. Development of standard operating procedures is the next key point of the schedule. A standard operating procedure shall be established by the organization based on the ISO 50001 requirements. It must outline detailed procedures or instructions on implementing and maintaining every aspect of the energy management system. Next is the development of mandatory clause procedures. This activity only becomes a requirement when the organization decided to be certified by the certification body. Moving on to the next key point of the schedule, that is the development of energy efficiency design methodology and criteria. Energy efficiency criteria shall be considered in the design of new, modified and retrofitted equipment, facilities and processes to ensure energy efficient operations. Development of procurement procedure and criteria is the next key point of the schedule. The organization shall define procurement practices and establish criteria for assessing the impact on the energy performance of the organization, such as energy use and efficiency of equipment over its expected lifetime when procuring energy using equipment, services, or products. Now we are looking at the next key point of the schedule, that is the development of other supporting documents. The organization can develop any document that deems necessary to effectively demonstrate energy performance and support the EnMS. Identification of legal and other requirements is the next key point in the schedule. The organization shall identify and review the applicable legal and other requirements related to its energy use, consumption and efficiency, and its obligation to comply with those requirements. To ensure sustainability of an EnMS project, communication plan and training plan must be included as one of the key points of the schedule. Relevant trainings identified by the organization may include operation of the EnMS, awareness and implementation program for key operational and management personnel, as well as customized training program for a particular targeted group in the organization. The organization shall start planning for training and communication strategies on the second month of the EnMS development program. The next key point of the schedule is the energy review and planning. Energy review and planning workshops are recommended to be conducted to the operational and management executives to start EnMS development and implementation. The participants will be furnished with information and will learn on how to establish and implement the EnMS in their organizations step by step. Reviewing and understanding of energy consumption trends is another key point in the schedule. The purpose of this step is to examine the systematic way of how the facility consumes energy by establishing its energy consumption trends for the past years. Ideally, the past 3 years of energy bills shall be compiled and analysed, with the current energy bill continuously being added into the record on a monthly basis in order to understand and monitor monthly and annualized energy trends. Moving on to the next key point, that is the identification of significant energy use or SEU and energy consumption apportionment. This step will determine where the energy is being consumed in the organization and quantify how much energy is being used on different equipment or system. By producing a pie chart of energy use and by having them sorted in order of energy consumption, the top significant energy use can be determined. Hence, the organization can focus most of its effort with regards to energy conservation on those used. The next key point from the EnMS development schedule is reviewing and understanding of energy consumption trends. The organization shall be aware that it is critical for all SEU to be operated and maintained in the most energy efficient way feasible. A critical operating parameters of each SEU shall be listed and well documented to help the organization to have a clear reference on the specification of those critical parameters and provide control measures to prevent the critical operating parameters being exceeded. Energy conservation opportunities or ECOs. Identification and development of the list will be the next key point of the schedule. The organization will need to identify ECOs and develop a list of opportunities or ideas on an ongoing basis to improve the EnMS continuously. The estimated savings in the energy unit for ECOs list will be used as the basis to establish the energy management objective and targets in the EnMS development process. Let's move on to the next key point of the schedule, which is the development of energy performance baseline and energy performance indicator. The purpose of developing energy baseline is to set a reference point for measuring energy performance improvements. The organization shall also identify suitable energy performance indicator for the purpose of monitoring and measuring its energy performance. Next is the development of objective and targets. After identifying the energy trends, variables, and potential energy conservation opportunities, the organization needs to establish objectives and targets as well as the time frame of achievement for them at relevant functions, levels, and facilities within the organization. These shall be well documented and communicated within the organization. The last key point of the EnMS schedule is the development of action plan. The action plan shall indicate the specific plan for improving energy performance for the coming period, typically 1 year in the organization. We are done with the most crucial phase in the development and implementing EnMS. We're moving on to phase 3, the implementation and operation of EnMS. The third phase shall translate all preparatory and planning works described in phase 2 into actions or operations. The first key point of phase 3 schedule is to implement communication and training plan. The key objective of the communication plan is to create awareness for the EnMS action plan and rules of all parties in the organization to ensure objective and target of the EnMS are achieved. This must be done throughout the entire EnMS implementation. The final checklist in phase 3 is the review of implementation of phase 2 elements. Once phase 2 is completed, a review shall be carried out to evaluate how well the current performance of the EnMS and identifying potential improvement to achieve better results. The last phase of the EnMS development and implementation is checking and improvement, and it consists of 4 elements. The first element is internal audit training. The internal audit is only required to be conducted if the organization decided to be certified by the certification body for the EnMS that has been implemented in the building facilities. However, it would be a good practice if the organization conducts an internal audit as a tool to check the compliance of all levels of personnel in implementing the EnMS that will be used as inputs to implement further improvement activities for better results. The next element in the phase is conducting internal audit. Upon completion of internal audit training, the organization shall be ready to conduct an internal audit for EnMS compliance. Records of internal audit shall be documented and reported to the top management. The next important element in phase 4 is the action to close the internal audit findings. The organization shall respond to any internal audit finding by indicating and implementing corrective and preventive action in order to close the finding. The management shall discuss with the auditor and related personnel for recommendations. The actions shall be well recorded and the effectiveness of each action taken shall be reviewed. The final element in the last phase of the development and implementation of EnMS is the management reviews. This cross-functional review by the top management aims to assess organization success at achieving the objective of the EnMS, thus ensuring its continuing stability, adequacy, and effectiveness. Any issue related to the EnMS shall be discussed, and any decision or action related to the EnMS shall be drawn in the management review too. We have covered the strategic plan of energy management system development and implementation for organizations. And now we are moving to the guidelines to develop and implement energy management system for the organization. The implementation of a good EnMS in a facility can improve and sustain energy usage and at the same time reduce its operational costs. And for this purpose, a comprehensive EnMS tools must be used to ensure the EnMS is documented accordingly and successfully implemented with good results. EnMS tool is a template to serve as a one-stop center for energy data gathering, updates and analysis for the development and implementation of the EnMS at any organization. There are 23 basic elements for EnMS development and implementation in the EnMS tool. The EnMS tool is essential for building energy monitoring, controlling and optimizing the EnMS in the organization. It can be customized according to the nature of business and type of building operations. Element 1. Organization chart. An effective internal energy management organization shall involve related departments to support in implementing the EnMS. It is because energy management involves all levels of personnel in the organization in order to achieve the intended objectives and targets. Element 2. Commitment, roles, and responsibilities. A workable system is achieved when everyone in the organization support and provide care for the entire elements required for the system to run well through a carefully established energy management organization. The management representative should ensure the Energy Management Committee members are clear of their responsibilities and as to what level they have to play their roles in supporting the EnMS implementation. Element 3. Energy Management System Scope and Boundaries. The organization has to define what energy sources and which part of the organization will be covered in the EnMS and decide what aspect to be included or excluded. Once the scope and boundaries have been decided, they should be documented. Here is a sample of the documentation. Scope and boundaries give the organization a target area to focus. In the early stages of the EnMS implementation, the organizations are advised to focus primarily on the electricity and the facilities that consume electricity as scope and boundaries. Element 4. Energy and Management Policy. Energy and Management Policy is the foundation for successful energy management. The purpose of the Energy Management Policy is to demonstrate support and commitment to the energy management system for achieving continual energy performance improvement. Support from the employees is essential. Hence, energy efficiency practices and details of the policy must be communicated well to our level of employees. Element 5. Legal and other requirements. The organization has to identify and evaluate which laws and regulations apply to the operation of the plant and other requirements such as operating permits, consent decrees, agreed orders, industry codes of practice, and applicable voluntary guidelines and standards that apply to the operating of the plant. Element 6. Energy Using Equipment List. For energy reviews and data analysis, the first step is to collect the required energy-related information and document it properly. The purpose is to estimate and analyze the energy consumption for each equipment per year. The data will be used to establish significant energy use or SEU summary and apportioning charts to identify the significant energy using equipment or system in the building facilities. Element 7. Energy Measurement Plan. The purpose of this element is to confirm the metering status and to prepare the metering plan for significant energy use or SEUs of the building facilities. The main intention of installing energy sub-meter is to monitor the energy consumption and energy performance of the equipment before and after the implementation of energy conservation measures. With this, the result of any control measures or energy conservation measures implemented at the equipment can be analyzed more accurately. Element 8. Significant Energy Use or SEU Summary and Energy Consumption Apportioning Charts. This step is to establish where most of the distribution of energy is being used in the building. The organization would be able to plan on which equipment that has the highest impact and result for energy conservation measures implementation and where maximum performance can be achieved. Element 9. Energy Consumption Data Gathering and Analysis. In order to understand the energy consumption trends in the building facilities, the energy review needs to be performed. The purpose of this step is to establish the energy consumption trends or patterns, to analyze it so that possible actions can be taken based on the findings. From the analysis, the organization would be able to understand their energy consumption trends based on the findings from the energy reviews that may include their best operation and the worst operation years in energy performance and investigate the factors that contributed to it. Also, the data analysis would be able to detect clues on what could be the activities and energy usage system or equipment to be further investigated for improvements in energy performance. Element 10. Energy Consumption Trends and Analysis Charts. The purpose of energy consumption trends and analysis charts development is to establish and examine the organization's energy use and trends in absolute terms. From the consumption trends, the organization should be able to examine and understand the energy consumption trends at the building facilities and target the potential areas for energy performance improvements. Now, we will go through all the main key points in the energy consumption trends and analysis charts. The first main key point is the monthly consumption. It is important for the organization to understand and analyze their facility energy consumption trend to identify which months have the highest energy consumption and which has the lowest. Any abnormality against the normal trend shown in the chart will have some clues to investigate what is the possible cause that contributed to it and potential preventive measures. This is important to improve the building energy performance, and at the same time, it will reduce the cost for energy, operations, and maintenance. The second key point that needs to be analysed is the annualized energy consumption. The annualized energy consumption is the latest total 12-month consumption recorded and monitored on monthly basis. Comparing to the total monthly consumption trend where only significant increase or decrease can be seen on month-to-month trend, the annualized consumption would indicate the accumulated reduction or increase of monthly consumption over the 12-month period. If a declining trend is detected, as displayed in this chart, energy consumption reduction has been achieved and the trend can be seen visually, even if quantity is not that significant to be seen in a month-to-month trend. If the trend is consistent, it is due to the fact that no more added energy conservation activity has been implemented within that period, and the organisation must plan for further energy conservation measures for performance improvement. Now, we are going to have a look at the next key point in the energy consumption trends and analysis charts, which is the monthly and yearly BEI trends. For commercial building, the most common energy performance indicator or ENPI is the BEI value, which is expressed as the ratio of the total electricity consumption and floor areas of the building in kilowatt-hour per square meter per year. Low BEI indicate better energy performance of the building, implying lesser energy is being consumed per square meter. Next is regression analysis chart. In the EnMS for building, the variables are normally the monthly electrical consumption and potential drivers such as monthly occupancy rate and total staff attendance. Regression analysis is the statistical process of confirming the correlation between the energy consumption and two or more parameters or potential energy drivers or variables that must be identified by the organization to perform a complete analysis. Next is the actual consumption versus forecasted consumption. Once the analysis for the regression is done with the energy consumption variables confirmed, an actual consumption from the regression analysis result versus the forecasted consumption analysis graph can be drafted. This will help the organization to understand the gap between the actual and forecasted consumption and start to strategize an improvement plan with the regression analysis as the baseline if the forecasted consumption is lower than the actual consumption. The last key point in the energy consumption trends and analysis chart is the Q-sum chart analysis. Q-sum stands for cumulative sum of differences, where difference refers to differences between the actual consumption and forecasted consumption on the basis of some established pattern of energy performance model through the regression analysis. From this analysis, the organization will establish the best operation performance year from the regression analysis and set the baseline to monitor energy saving performance. All these analyses are to provide the visual interpretation of the progress and result of energy performance achieved through the implementation of the EnMS in the organization that can be presented to the top management in the management review meetings. We are moving on to element 11, technical audit. The technical audit is the assessment of the equipment, process and system that will help the organization to identify opportunities for improvement that could increase the energy savings. Recommendations shall be made together with the estimation of resources requirements for completing the actions should be included in the final report. From the list of the recommendations, the organization has to discuss which energy conservation opportunities that are suitable to be implemented at the facilities. Element 12, plan energy conservation opportunities. All the energy conservation measures that have been agreed to be implemented need to be recorded, complete with potential energy consumption reduction, cost of implementation, and payback period from implementing each energy conservation measure identified. It is important for the organization to identify the costs required for implementing the energy conservation opportunities and the payback period for the investment to convince the top management to approve the implementation in order to achieve the intended energy conservation targets. Element 13, maintenance criteria and critical operating parameters. The important details in the maintenance activities are the critical operation parameters that need to be identified and controlled for energy-efficient maintenance. Based on the operational parameters identified, a technical person should analyze the conditions and energy performance of the equipment and find ways to improve it for more energy-efficient operations. When the equipment works efficiently, less energy is used to operate it and will result in reduction of operating costs. Element 14. Energy Management Objective and Targets. It is important to track the approved energy management objective and targets with the energy baseline that must be reviewed periodically and to monitor the energy performance throughout the EnMS implementation process. This is important to determine whether the energy performance and improvement program is performing well and meeting the intended objectives and targets. Element 15. Energy Management Action Plan. The purpose of the Energy Management Action Plan is to plan work into actions for the coming period, typically 1 year. The action plans are not entirely a list of technical energy conservation measures, but shall include capacity building program activities, housekeeping, management and organizational awareness creation activities as well. Once the action plan has been approved by the top management, Energy Management Committee will start to plan a timeline to execute all the activities. Element 16. Implemented energy conservation opportunities. Implemented energy conservation opportunities must be monitored and to be updated progressively. The important items to monitor are the performance of the actual saving achieved in kilowatt-hour and ringgit. This has to be recorded in actual energy consumption reduction and saving achieved column here. From the data, future improvement can be strategized for better results of the EnMS implementation. Element 17. Operational control. Equipment and system related to significant energy usage or SEUs are the critical aspect in operation control for energy efficient operation. Every improvement or inefficient operation will give significant effects in energy consumption that need to be monitored in the EnMS implementation. Proper equipment guideline, good maintenance and operation control for significant energy usage or SEUs will lead to less energy consumption and extend equipment lifetime. Element 18. Energy Efficient Design. In the EnMS tool, it is essential for the energy efficient design activities to be documented. The organization has to review and evaluate all projects related to energy consumption, especially that involve significant energy usage or SEUs, to meet energy efficiency criteria established for the EnMS implementation. This is to ensure that the organization gets a clear picture on the implementation of new, modified or retrofitted projects. Element 19. Energy Efficient Purchasing. The organization has to develop the energy efficiency criteria and it will be used as the guideline in evaluating the upcoming equipment purchasing based on designs for projects or energy using system and equipment and services related to energy use. This must be communicated well with the relevant parties including suppliers and contractors to ensure all the standards and requirements set by the organization are met. Element 20. Training and Awareness. The main objective in the EnMS training is to ensure all employees have adequate knowledge and skills in performing their tasks as required in the EnMS requirements. Investing in training will increase the success rate of the EnMS action plan. Training programs must be customized based on organizational needs. The following elements 21 to 23 must be conducted exactly according to ISO 50001 requirements if the organization is going towards certification by the certification body. However, it would be a good practice if the organization could adopt the ISO 50001 requirements for internal compliance and performance checking purposes. Element 21. Internal Energy Management System Audit. The purpose of internal EnMS audit is to assess and ensure the system is effectively established, implemented, maintained, and meet the organization's policies and objectives with the intention of continual improvement. The management representative must initiate the audits and guarantee that a comprehensive report can be produced based on the audit. The management representative must also ensure that the audit shall comprise of trained auditors from the various departments and the auditees are responsible for the effective preparation and cooperation of the audits and guide assigned. Element 22. Non-conformities. Non-conformities can be defined as failure to fulfill specific requirements in the EnMS standards adopted by the organization. From the non-conformities findings, the organization has to investigate to review and carry out modification, corrective and preventive actions. This must be documented with evidence with further declaration of all finding status. Element 23. Management review. The management review is required to ensure it is always in the agenda of the high-level management meetings. A high level of integration with existing management review procedure may give the organization advantage in improving the EnMS. Now you are ready to develop and implement a sustainable energy management system to your building and enjoy the savings of your energy costs. For more comprehensive information about EnMS, you may refer to our guidelines of the development and implementation of an energy management system for buildings facilities book that is available for download at bseep.gov.my.